Ali or Andy in the finals. We are underway.
Okay, a couple of bombs off the start, which is nice. We were always looking for bombs in the escape sequence, so this will be good for our runners to kind of blaze through this section.
And we know that they're going to get a sword, so there's really going to be no major issue, and nothing on the map. Sorry, thalane.
Alrighty, so this is Uncle Assured. The uncle is going to be handing us a sword. There we go. Fighter sword, very nice. And just a quick shout out to our tracker today, Sandres316. Thank you so much for clicking those buttons behind the scenes, my man.
We start off with a small key to Misery Mire. What a great small key to get. Only one of about a gazillion, and you really don't need to find any in order to do any progress in Misery Mire, but it's the big key that you really long for in that dungeon. And we're doing all dungeons, so you have to find it at some point.
Yeah, that one key for Misery Mire will make the dungeon a little easier to navigate if you choose to go for left side right off the bat there. So it's always nice to have the keys, but as you said there, not needed to finish the dungeon off.
Yeah, the one key you really want to find at some point in time, Desert Palace big key right there. The one key you really want to find is the Swamp Palace small key, because a lot could be riding on that small key.
Yes, most definitely.
Thalane getting some more bombs off one of the guards right there to put him at a full complement of 10. Not that he really needed those bombs, so it's going to be good for Kakariko Village. And we get 2 small keys to this dungeon. Well, that takes care of the one we would maybe be finding in the sewers. So what kind of things would you like to find early on in a Key Sanity Seed?
Well, I mean, we're looking for either, keys at any point are great, but maybe some kind of progression item that will kind of give you some kind of direction as to where you should go first. So, but I mean, really, I think the most important thing is to get things that'll get you around the world, because Key Sanity seems to start out with a lot of just kind of acquisition of stuff before you actually start diving any dungeons. So maybe some gloves or the hammer or something like that, I think would be good.
Something that tells them this is what you need to do next, because there's certain hints that you can pick up based on the items that you find in most modes of Link to the Past Randomizer that says, hey, you really probably should think about doing Eastern Palace next if you get a lamp and bow next.
Yeah, definitely. Only thing that throws a wrench into those kind of plans is if you don't have the keys. But yeah, I do like if you're getting those items early, maybe that is a dungeon you dive first.
So as these two make their way through the escape sequence, the next chest we'll find is the sewers. Because this last match came down to 6 seconds, this is the kind of case where any deviation could make or break a run, especially if it turns out to be quite as close as that race was.
Yeah, well, the commentators for Game 1 there were joking about Thalane's skipping of the Sanctuary chest. That saved him 2 or 3 seconds, and that could have been the difference that he needed to take the win there. So any little thing like that can really add up when the two runners are this close.
Let's talk about how this series is constructed, because that is a question that we're getting in chat. How are the settings chosen for these 5 matches?
Well, the first 2, let's see, Game 1 is chosen entirely by, hey, we were talking about the bow there. There it is. How about that? So game 1 was Kohrek's settings, and he was the lower seed coming into this best of 5. Game 2, these are Thalane's settings here, because he is the higher seed. And then we get into some veto territory. Let me just pull that up.
And Kohrek getting the 8 bomb drop as well, so that will give him the full complement as we make our way to the back 3 of Escape. Let's go ahead and see. I would say that we haven't seen a map just yet, but, that's not a guarantee. Hey, Fire Rod! There's a fire source right there. Now, if we get the Eastern Big Key real soon, this Eastern play could be a more lucrative play.
Most definitely. If that ever comes up, I think that would be the first place that our runners should check out. Okay, so continuing on with the way that this best of 5 works. Game 3, the main settings will be chosen by the higher seeded player, so that will be Thalane. But the lower seeded player, Kohrek, will have 1 veto available. If game 4 is required, then it swaps again there with Kohrek choosing the settings and Thalane getting 1 veto. And then if we get all the way to game 5, which I know a lot of people are excited about the possibility of, the randomized bot will choose the settings, but each player will have 1 veto for that.
Kind of like how game 3s have been determined up to this point. So we found a small key to Dark Palace early on. That's another one that you feel about, but that's only because you have so many of those keys out there. And we do see that one of the tier of the tree poles turns out to be arrows, which goes pretty well with that bow that they picked up.
Yeah, I always feel like in Key Sanity, the pod keys, if you see a lot of them early on, then, there's a key on, Lumberjack there. That is the worst feeling. Could that be the Swamp Palace key? I know I've seen that before.
Could it be a castle? No, it can't be a castle tower key, duh. But it maybe Ganon's tower key that you could just dispose of, or a Skull Woods small key. But it also could be, as you pointed out, a major key that we need for later on. We do see both of the runners picking up this map. It's the map to the Tower of Hera, so we now know whether or not Tower of Hera is going to be a crystal or pendant, which in an all-dungeon seed, it doesn't matter a lot, but maybe sometimes you got to go through Ganon's Tower to get what you need in life.
Ooh, we're up to a Master Sword already. Yeah, good point there. With map collecting, it might help you determine whether you need to rush your pendant dungeons, because yesterday's blockbuster of a seed, we had boots on pedestal. So, it might change your kind of decisions as to whether or not you think pedestal is something you need to do, or if you want to rush crystals instead and go for GT.
A lot of strategies here, and we have our first deviation of the run. As the lane heads in over towards Blind's hut, as Kohrek heads over towards the dam, we'll go ahead and see what's inside both of these. Find the map, the Turtle Rock, a blue male. So Shy Guy is now blue. Hey, there's the Moon Pearl. We see a big key. Hey, the big key to Ganon's Tower. I guess we can't play that game anymore. And Misery big key. Well, sorry about that, Sabo.
Yep, I guess my dream is dead. So yeah, we saw Kohrek pick up another small key to pod in the dam there. Oh wow, we're up to our final sword. Tempered already.
In a hard mode. Are we sure this is hard mode? We're going to have some questions. Hey, Ice Rod. That was going to be my guess for the most trolly item, but never mind that now. I was going to make a guess here. I mean, we'll find out if they get Butter Sword, what we call shenanigans. Hammer!
Yikes, we're getting a lot of different things here. They're not really adding up to anything immediately, but these are all really nice pieces to be finding.
And then something happened. And we'll talk about it in just a moment. We will find out what's in Kakariko Village, I guess. We'll have to refresh. So how's your day going? I'm looking at a screen that has a shy guy. There we go. We got some movement.
Oh, there we go. All right, fantastic. We're back.
Just in time for the mini Moldorm cave. There's money. There's a heart container. There's more money. A boomerang. And a map. And there's money inside the library, so we're not going to bother seeing. I believe that should take care of the desync problem that we've been having. So, thankfully, thanks to the tech crew behind us for fixing that, we do have a blind look at the race game. And it's just for some bombs.
But I guess when you've only got 4 in hand, 3 more never hurts.
According to our behind-the-scenes staff, Hut had 50 rupees, and we had 10 arrows as well being seen. The tavern, I believe. So, we got that figured out. Nothing big. The lane's turning in the mushroom. Nice choice to go here. Let's see if this turns out to be anything inside.
It could be nothing, but I do like the idea. If you get the mushroom early enough, just turn it in right away and see what it is. Maybe do a save and quit, and or a hard reset and save that for fake powder. But we'll see what Thalane decides to do, depending on what the item might be.
And it's Quake!
Alrighty, well that's our first medallion. We don't know what we'll need to get into Misery Mire or Turtle Rock at this point, but that's an item you're going to want to hold on to just in case you will need it later on.
Well, we're not going to go ahead and do a hard reset with that. Thalane now going to go check the south stuff of 5 rule, while Kohrek's going to go ahead and do Kakariko Village. So no new news coming out for either of these runners, and at this point, no dungeons can be defeated. What would you do in this case? Where would you go based on what we haven't seen so far?
Based on what we haven't seen, I would say that Sahasrara is probably holding on to something. I'm gonna guess it's our lift upgrade, and that'll give us Dark World access based on if what our runners have here, which would be kind of open up a lot more after that. So that's what I'm thinking.
And that's right, because the lane will have to go to the Agena at some point in time, get the hammer from there. That's a really rough spot for that hammer to be, because a lot of runners treats Agena as like the last chance saloon before they do something desperate. Like if this was an open mode and not a key sanity mode, would be heading right straight to Aghanim.
Ooh, yeah, right.
Now, naturally here, because of the way that this seed is constructed based on the fact that it's key sanity, you won't see that kind of move, but that's something you might see in other variations.
Mm-hmm.
But that really is a rough spot for that hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And there is the tempered sword for Kohrek. So if my memory serves me correct, what the game does is that it will populate 4 sword locations, but once you get tempered, the 4th one becomes 20 rupees. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what we'll see is kind of like the 50 rupee kind of pack or 300 rupee pack. It shows up kind of like that, but just with a 20 beside it.
Okay, so if we see a 20, then we'll know that's where the 4th sword technically was going to be. We'll never see it. The other thing about hard mode is that silvers only works on Ganon.
Yeah, so it means that a couple of the bosses that you usually use silvers for will take a little bit longer. Like I'm thinking about Vitreous, who's always a pain in the butt.
He's a pain in the butt, the pain in the front, and a pain all over.
No kidding. So Kohrek picked up the Moon Pearl in Blindsight. He's one piece away from the Dark World access there. He's needing that the lift upgrade that we have not seen yet. Thalane, unfortunately, is not grabbing the hammer yet. It might be a location that he kind of leaves for a while. He's got a little bit more to explore still. Maybe heading over to Eastern Palace area. Was that a flute there?
Yeah, that's that flute. Well, Kohrek doing the fake flippers just like Thalane did to get turning the mushroom. So Kohrek will have the Quake coming up real soon. Thalane will find out what the items at Sahasrahla, and we'll also find out what our green pendant is.
Yeah, another nice little piece of information in Key Sanity is Sahasrahla will tell you where you need to go for that.
Swamp Palace is our green pendant. That's key number 2 to Misery Mire. And also the big key to Turtle Rock. So nothing there that moves things along. We do see that Hera is a crystal.
Okay, we can't quite get up there yet, but that is good to know. So Thalane making the play into Eastern Palace here, pretty solid based on item density and what we have left available to us. It is a pretty good play early on in Key Sanity, kind of regardless of whether or not you have the big key to finish the dungeon. It's still a good call. Other than this, I think we've got Castle Tower first chest that we can access, but
that's right.
That's about it.
That's it. That's the only checks we have left remaining are those. So the lane at this point may have to make a decision based on what we find here. There's our glove upgrade. There it is. But the lane without the hammer is not going to be heading to the Dark Road at this point. The question is what does Kohrek do once he gets that glove? Does he stay in here, or does he take that glove and run?
Man, that's a tough call when you've already committed to stepping into Eastern Palace here. I wouldn't, immediately discount the idea that he does just nope out after seeing that in the first chest.
Now, you know what would be really bad for the lane right now?
What's that?
If he finds the other glove upgrade in here to be the mitts, because that's going to take him away from where the hammer is for a little while.
Ooh, that would be really bad, yeah.
Logically, we are down to one more chest because we don't have the lamp. However, the stature of these runners, they're going to get that big key location no matter what. There's the Skullwoods big key.
Alrighty, so Kohrek's found his gloves, and he's going to keep going further into the dungeon here. It makes sense. He's going to go all the way right through with Thalane here to the vanilla big key chest, most likely.
Totally makes sense at this point. As we say goodbye to Lane, that's Skullwood's big key. It's one of those big keys that you aren't excited about finding because you don't need that big key in order to beat the dungeon.
No, it gives you all of one additional location, that being the big chest in Skullwood. But finding those kind of keys early on I find like it's a relief. You don't have to worry about finding it late in the game and having maybe already completed Skullwoods. Think, oh, do I have to go back to that one spot?
Get the big key to the Tower of Hera by way of the Dark Room, so not a bad big key to find, and the lane has two decisions now. Do I go to the Castle Tower, or do I go to Agina? And the lane is choosing the incorrect of the two.
Yeah, we haven't seen this location yet, but unfortunately we know where the hammer's hanging out, and that's likely the only piece of the puzzle that we need to fit in at this point.
Kohrek going through the dark room. We'll have the Tower of Hera big key coming up in just a moment. So the lane, this would be really good if the lane finds something nice in here, but it's not the Titan's Mitt.
Mm-hmm.
All right, kill off these 2 guards. What do we got inside? The Cane of Burna.
I mean, that's not nothing. If we need to get over to Spike Cave fairly early on in this seed, then that's a nice little pickup for him.
So the lane is down to that one final option, and that one final option is going to be to head on over towards Agina at this point. That's it. There's nothing else the lane can get to. Zora is not a possibility because there's no logical access. You can sequence break it, but at this point, probably not the best of ideas. As Kohrek heads to Hype Cave, Sabatender, can we get some hype?
Yo, hype, hype, hype. Let's see what we got today in Hype Cave. Well, some bombs. Okay. A compass. Great. 10 arrows. A map to Eastern Palace. Oh, wow. That's maybe the least Hype Cave I have seen in quite some time.
I love the lack of hype that we're giving this Hype Cave at this point, but it's totally deserved at this point. Lane is farming up rupees. So the lane probably at this point will head left to go to Agina while you're here, because why would you head on over that way? Hera and Turtle Rock are the 5-6 crystals, by the way.
That's interesting. We have both of those big keys already. Turtle Rock, we're missing a couple of small keys that would help us out, but both Fire and Ice Rod as well for Turtle Rock. So pieces are coming together for those 2 dungeons.
Also, I'd like to point out that we also do already have the Fire Rod and Ice Rod.
Yeah, right?
Hammer pickup for the lane. That gives the lane some Dark Road access as Kohrek goes and checks some of these spots around the Hype Cave. We'll finish off with the digging game and see what we can dig in anywhere between 1 and 30 spots. The lane looks like we're going to be opting to go Village of Outcast way to the Dark World.
Yep, I think I like this play. We've got our Fire Rod, so I imagine that Thalane is actually going to finish that dungeon right away, is kind of his thinking. And then he can maybe... we don't have anything to get into Thieves Town too deep, so I think Skull Woods is his play.
Yeah, you can finish off Skull Woods, but you can also get the first 4 of... Wow, this is a nasty dig. Oh, and just for 20 rupees.
All right, so Kohrek starting from Sanctuary. I wonder if he is kind of got the same idea as Thalane here and is going to do Village of Outcasts now. Maybe Skull Woods as well.
27 digs for that 20 rupees. That's disgusting. But
yeah,
it's not maximum of 30, but it does make you sweat a little bit, especially if you clinked a couple of times. As the lane will pop into Skull Woods, as we've mentioned before, you might as well at this point. You do have the big key, as well as you do have everything you need to beat it, and this is an all dungeon seed. Maybe you can find something here. Maybe you can find the big key to Thieves Town that gets you inside there deeper.
Yeah, and we did get a map check. I think it was Kohrek gave us some info that Eastern Palace is also a crystal today. Alrighty, so there's the always going to be a Skull Woods key right there in that chest there, so you don't get locked into that section of the dungeon.
So far, Skull Woods is coming up empty. Now we'll see whether or not that big key does yield anything important. Beautiful bomb jump from the lane. And it just turns out to be another 20 rupees. Skull Woods is Deadwoods.
Yeah, it looks like they've just given us what we need to finish off the dungeon, and there's just nothing more to be had here. But we've still got a couple of item locations in the dungeon, so not all hope is lost yet.
3 more possible spots remaining inside of Skullwoods as the lane trying to play dodge the Gibdos, dodge the Wallmaster. Get a small key to swamp. There it is.
That's a nice piece to find. That Swamp Palace small key can be the bane of Key Sanity Runner's existence. So nice find there. It's at least we know that it's not the one that's on the Lumberjack Cave there.
So Kohrek's going to be picking up that Swamp Palace small key in just a moment. We know that Swamp Palace is going to be our green pendant, but who knows? You may always have to pop in there early to find something nice and good.
Yeah, it is an item-dense dungeon, and with the green pendant, you've got one more item to claim afterwards. So it is a dungeon that would be a good one to visit at some point if we can collect all the pieces that we need. We're still missing flippers and the mirror for that one, and more importantly, the hookshot to get to the back part.
Thalane building up his resources here because, yeah, you got Tempered Sword, so Mothula won't be a big pain, but you don't want to overuse your Fire Rod shots at this point trying to light up these torches. And we are almost going to have a synchronized Mothula fight because Kohrek hasn't checked that bottom chest yet. Kohrek going for the faster kill of just going with the Fire Rod as the lane was trying to push him into the spike. Did not really want to play nice. Okay, here we go. Synchronized Mothulas. Go! Kohrek gets the first swing. Tried to use a Fire Rod shot. Kohrek gets him into the corner. Going up to the top, and Kohrek trying to fire him down. Who's going to finish off their Mothula first? It looks like the lane does get his down first. Kohrek, a few seconds behind Bomb. So Skullwoods, Deadwoods.
And it's also a pendant, so that's another piece of the puzzle for us. So we've got pendants in Skullwoods and Swamp Palace so far.
Next up will be the Village of Outcasts for both of these runners, though Kohrek still has to get that bottom chest. Will not be super happy about the piece of heart, but, you know, it's a place, it's a security of the mind at this point, peace of mind.
Yeah. Alrighty, so I'd say that if we don't see anything out of Village of Outcasts, which is unlikely, I feel like we'll get at least something that'll kind of point us in direction. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a Palace of Darkness play at this point. We've got 2 small keys that gives us a little bit of access into the dungeon, and I don't know, we've got all the other pieces to kind of navigate it, so I'd like to see that.
And we see a big key this time on Bumper Cave. Bumper Cave being a very important part of Game 1. A particular key was up on Bumper Cave in Game 1. Turned out to be the small key to Castle Tower, the second one to get them up to Ganon.
Yep, that's right, it was. Alrighty, so Thalane popping into Thieves Town here. Unless we find the big key to Thieves Town here in the dungeon, we'll just be looking at first 4 here.
Hey, we find the small key to Thieves Town inside there. Now, where's the big key?
Right in the next chest. Oh, never mind.
Nice try. That was just a bottle with a bee in it.
That is our first bottle, so we'll be able to see what Sick Kid has now.
Kohrek's going to go ahead and do the chest game first before popping into Thieves Town, opening up the gate. We find a blue rupee there, find a single arrow, and then there's the prize, there's the heart container. Final chest. Hey, there's the lamp.
All right, that's a nice find. What do we do with that?
Well, that does get us up to the mountain, but there's not much you can do besides the 2 checks that are there at this point.
Yeah, Old Man and the what's inside Spectacle Rock there. So I mean, that could be something. It's not nothing, potentially.
So Kohrek's going to go ahead and do the first 4 here, and I'm more than certain what we're going to see from the lane is the lane's going to head on over to the what's called the brewery here, or the doorless hut, and then we'll head on down and do the digging game over towards Hype Cave at this point. So pretty much the checks that we already seen from Kohrek.
Yeah, I think what I'm wondering about is after the Hype Cave, where does the lane go? Does he continue on kind of eastward, making his way towards Pod, Pyramid, Catfish, those kind of checks? Or with the lamp in hand, does he think that his progression is going to be hanging out up on Death Mountain there in those 2 checks that we said were available?
It would be a really good idea if he did make his way over towards the Palace of Darkness. I mean, at this point, you've already got yourself at least some access there. Who knows? You might have to double dip a dungeon. As the lane here will get the sad news in 27 digs that this is not necessarily a great place to be.
Yes, we see Kohrek is likely making the mountain play at this point, which makes sense for him. The way that he's routed his early Dark World access, it kind of leads you to heading in this direction. So we'll see if Thalane decides to follow him, or if he splits off and goes further east in the Dark World.
Yeah, it looks like what Kohrek is doing is saying that you just gave me the lamp. Let's go ahead and see if this is lamp into something big via the mountain. We'll find out in just a moment once he rescues the old man. The lane's about to also get some disappointing news that Hype Cave today is Stunk Cave. So, old man just being a piece of heart, not much there. Let's see what the second check is.
You know what? I'm just so disappointed by that Hype Cave. I've seen it for the second time here, and I'm still just so disappointed in it. All right, Thalane is continuing on, which is the play that makes sense. His routing has been on point here in Dark World. So let's see if he goes all the way for Pod, or if he does some of the overworld stuff first.
Death Mountain's a bust so far. Piece of heart and 10 arrows. The hint is a troll hint too. Youch. 0 for 3.
But as we can see here, it looks like Kohrek's going to jump back into the Dark World right away, and really pretty much in the same boat as Thalane right now.
Unless you go all the way and check what that bottle does, you've got really no other option, and 10 arrows there on the pyramid. Like, this seed is so bottlenecked at this point.
Mm-hmm. So thalane is going to go all the way up to Catfish here. It's an out-of-the-way check, but there's really not a good time to ever route it in. I mean, if you got the Mire, you can kind of loop it in with some of your Zora stuff, but that doesn't always work out that way. So this is as good a time as any to check it out.
Watch you get the Mire now.
That is like the perfect spot for the Mire.
All right, so what are we going to get from Catfish? Is it going to be something special or no? Let's find out. Catfish, what do you got for us? Anything good in there? Oh! Death Mountain now a more lucrative play.
Yeah, most definitely. And thankfully, for the sake of competitiveness in this between our two runners here, Kohrek is following suit and is going to pick up his hookshot as well, which will send him right back up Death Mountain.
Yeah, because he's already saved the old man. All he'll have to do is just save and quit and start right back up the mountain cave.
So this will give us access all the way around to Tower of Hera, so our runners will be able to complete their first crystal dungeon, which will be nice.
So Kohrek getting his hook shot. He'll be heading back up to the mountain in just a moment here, and we'll probably have these guys be nearly sync as they go back up the mountain. So Kohrek doing the save and quit. Time to head over towards East Death Mountain, see what we have up there. It's amazing how in sync these two are.
It should come as no surprise after game one that these guys are pretty much, neck and neck 37 minutes in. Should stay this way for most of the race, I'd imagine.
I really hope so. I'd love to have a nice tight finish here. Now thalane's going to be able to do he's going to be able to do a Spike Cave while he's up here as well.
Yeah, if he so chooses, he has that option. Finding Kana Burna in Castle Tower there, Kohrek did not check that spot yet.
Yeah, he's got really no reason to do so. We find another small key to the Dark Palace, as well as the compass to Desert. Here's the bomb jump attempt here by thalane, and end up missing it, and we'll do the save and quit. He's not going to check now. I have a feeling if he pulled off the bum jump, he would have.
Yeah, and at this point, what he'll do likely is just route it in at the very end, perhaps when he's done with Tower of Hera, then just pop back down real quick and check Spike Cave then.
Nothing in Paradox Cave. We did get a Dark Palace small key, but the only Y button item we picked out of there was the bug catching net.
Yeah, something that won't be used by our runners in this race.
Up on the island, we find a three pack of bombs, so that's not going to be something we're going to see either of these runners go and pick up at some point in time, considering the fact that you got to, spend 2 bombs to even get that?
Yeah. So Kohrek is choosing to do Spiral Cave here before heading over to Tower of Hera, so wanting to be thorough and clearing off all of East Death before making his way back over to the dungeon.
And another compass, this one to Turtle Rock. So we're finding all the items that these two do not really want to find at this point, because let's face it, with the caliber of these runners, the compass does nothing, and the maps are semi-useful in the fact that you can look at your map and see what dungeons you need to beat, but considering the fact that this is all dungeons, even there, it's not going to be a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thalane's going to hold off doing Spiral Cave until after he's done with the Tower of Hera, so we're going to have ourselves a Sync Tower of Hera. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Who gets the worst Moldorm 1 pattern?
Yeah, right? That's what it'll come down to here, for sure.
Big key right here. What's big key is this one for? It turns out to be the big key for Eastern Palace. That's now beatable.
Excellent. So we've just got the big chest in Eastern Palace, and then whatever the Armos Knights have as well. And some caches on a boss. Great hint.
Yeah, but which of the bosses?
Yeah.
Door number 1, door number 2, or door number 13? Kohrek takes a small lead, considering that orb room right there, or the beetle room, or whatever you call those things.
Yeah, just little bits of execution here are all that separate these two, really. So yeah, if someone has a clean room and someone kind of goofs up the usual strats, then yeah, it makes all the difference.
A unique item is held by somebody friendly. Let's see how these two do with their bomb jump. Thalane has his set up, perfect, and Kohrek gets his setup as well, but Thalane takes the lead. Well, somewhat, you know. Looks like
Yeah.
both of these two getting really wrecked by the fire patterns here.
Ooh, that was smooth, Thalane. Probably not what he expected to do there.
Yeah, that fall down gives Kohrek back the lead as we go ahead and see Moldorm. Thalane, what are you doing? One more spin here from Kohrek and this Moldorm will be down. And Thalane gives up and is going to take the long way around. And Moldorm drops a blue rupee as Thalane now goes off and faces off against Moldorm.
Yeah, he got the nicer pattern there, so he was able to make up a couple seconds.
Yeah, because what Kohrek had to deal with that pattern was absolute horrid. It was an awful pattern because Moldorm just kept getting wiggled up there on that left side, and you don't really want to attack him because you get middle hold. You're down 2 floors.
Yeah, so let's see. The big prize out of Tower of Hera here was the big key to Eastern Palace. We see Kohrek heading that direction right now. Thalane picks up his hammer, or pulls out his hammer here, and is going to go back and do Spiral Cave. Might be leaving Spike Cave for now, although he has the Cane of Burner to take care of that. Maybe he's going to just wait for a little later to take that check.
Yeah, he's probably going to wait until he gets the Titan's Mitts before he does that. Because then you can lump it together with your Hookshot Cave. You can do that together with your Super Bunny Cave. But at this time, it's just a one-off. So this big key gets us 2 items inside of Eastern. Whether or not they are anything useful to us, we don't know. But the number of possibilities continues to dwindle until we get to that Titansmith. Like, the Titansmith's one of the bigger bottlenecks that we have on these seeds.
Yeah, definitely. I get the feeling that even though we've got the big key to Eastern Palace, and you want to finish that off right away, the 2 items that we see here are not going to really give us anything. I think the money's in Pod. Like, that's got to be. We've got 3 keys to Pod now. That's more than enough to get around to most of the item locations. So I think that's where we're going to go.
20 rupees inside the big chest, so the question is what does the Armos Knights have? And you've been saying this throughout the last probably about 20 minutes. You think that the big go-to is the Palace of Darkness.
I don't know. I just feel like it usually is the spot. If you get any kind of pod keys early on, it's like, come on, just go. It's telling you to go.
And I have an idea that you are right about this. I think there is something that we're all going to find inside the Palace of Darkness that is relatively early. I mean, we've already got the hammer, we've already got the bow, and we've got what you said. What with 3 keys?
3 keys, yeah. I mean, that gets you, I think, almost all the chests.
All right. 18 arrows, or however many you tackle these guys down. If these guys are on their game, they're going to take 18 arrows to finish. But nope. Add an extra 2. And just a 20 rupee, there's the prize for the Eastern Palace. So I think you're right, Sabatender. I think they have to go to the Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's not too much else that we can go for. So, but it is, it's one of those dungeons that, when you don't have, when there are so many keys that you need to finish it off, it's one of those ones that people will put off, and it's totally understandable that you don't want to take the time to go through it. But yeah, I don't know. When you get those keys early, I always get a feeling like that's where you should be heading.
So that cash that they found on both Moldorm as well as the Armos Knights, that some cash that's on the boss, that's going to go help into the payment that Kohrek's going to be making with Kiki the
Yes, yeah. Kiki always charges $110.
Must be nice to charge somebody $10 just to stalk them.
Yeah, right?
So the lane finishing off, and will likely make the same movement. Like I said, this is a bottleneck seed until we get to those Titans, man. Then it starts to open up some. Obviously, it still comes down to some keys, but where does the seed want them to go? All right, well, let's find out if you're right, Sabatender.
I'm thinking that we find like flippers and Mire in here. Like we get our starter kit for Swamp Palace, and then things will kind of pop off from there.
They already got that small key, so I like the way you think here. Single rupee there, so we're gonna have a bow required right side. Although, never mind. It's key sanity. What the hell am I talking about?
But we're likely going to head over that way anyways, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, if there's nothing here, then chat's been pointing out that Zora is still available to us. So that is one of those spots that both runners have left for now. And then we do have Thalane's access to Spike Cave as well, still kind of outstanding.
Our container's above the post, so they'll never check that. I do want to say that I really love that spin that Kohrek did off the mini Hamasar to give him a little extra speed heading up north towards that stairwell.
I really like that little strat as well. I've seen a lot of the top runners do it, and I've started to put it into my own runs as well. It's a nice feel good little. It doesn't save you that much time, but it's a nice little boost, I find.
All right, let's see what we have. We saw 1 rupee so far. What else is inside this Palace of Darkness? There's a compass for Ice Palace, which is not in logic yet. And we find 20 rupees. And so Kohrek's going to have to use the hammer to move around. It would really be nice if we found the boots or mirror here just to make moving around this a lot easier.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so Kohrek dropping down to check this one location first, right off the bat.
Gets the big key. That's the big key to Swamp Palace, which flippers and mirror, that would really open up that door.
Mm-hmm. I'm starting to feel a little less confident about my prediction here that Pod's going to have something, but we are heading to the back half, so hopefully there's something kicking back in the back part.
Well, there's silver arrows, which will be nice for the Ganon fight. And just a reminder that the silver arrows are only usable during Ganon fights in hard mode. Hey, there's part of your equation right there.
Okay, I'm not all wrong.
Book of Medora.
Ooh. All right, so book gives us our access to desert right now, which is great. We have the big key for that. Kohrek's using the key for this hellway door here, and we find 50 rupees. He's probably going to hammer Yump over to the big chest, which we can't open yet because we don't have the big key, but we can get access to the... hey, Thalane just picked up a key to Pod. That usually happens.
Yeah. That's usually a mechanic in open mode, or standard mode, is that you get the key for a key there via the big key chest. And Kohrek pulls off the hammer Yump pretty satisfactorily. Doesn't have the big key to open up that chest. There's 10 arrows there. One final chest coming up for Kohrek. Magic Cape.
Alrighty, so that'll give us the access to that key that's on the bumper ledge, and it also gives Kohrek an item to get through Spike Cave, which is nice for him.
And we know that there is a big key up on the bumper ledge, and that very well could be the Palace of Darkness big key. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely. We're actually only looking for a few of the big keys. Thieves Town being the only one that we actually need to complete the dungeon with. But Pod, Thieves Town, and Ice Palace are the only outstanding big keys at this point.
Well, let's see what the hobo has now that we got some flippers. He just has 20 rupees. That Book of Medora makes Desert beatable.
Yeah, assuming that it doesn't matter if we're boots locked or not, because we're playing Key Sanity. So yes, we can get through that, no problem.
All right. Well, Kohrek is ringing around the whirlpool. Finally gets inside. And you know the thing that with what Thalane is doing here? He's skipping that one other key door by going back around the long way. That's going to give him one key to beat this dungeon once he gets the big key. Kohrek's still got to find another small key to beat the Palace of Darkness.
And that is expert use of keys there. He by following the key logic, which was he was going through the dungeon kind of sequentially from front to back, he lucked into another... Mirror! Hey, there's the mirror. All right.
Head on over towards Zora.
So, saving that one key is going to come in handy for Thalane. I mean, likely one more pod key is going to turn up in a pretty accessible location, but if it doesn't, then that's a big advantage for Thalane.
Yeah, we'll see where the that final Palace of Darkness small key goes, as Kohrek will pick up his mirror that gets him the flute. And no longer do we have to worry about that Book of Medora. Well, actually, we still do until we find the Titan's Mitt.
So it looks like Kohrek is heading into Swamp Palace. Probably a good play. I like it.
Yeah, because there's your full complement of what you need in order to beat that dungeon. If he doesn't go, he's making a detour for the flute, but the flute doesn't get him anything new at this point, so why not just go ahead and make your way. First, we're going to check what is called Cave 45, and then make your way into Swamp Palace.
Thalane chucking the bottle into the Well of Wishing here to see what we get back from the fairy. Some blue goo, that's nice.
It is very nice. Just a reminder that in hard mode, the blue goo does not fill you up fully like it would in normal mode. And the lane seeing the mirror right there. Kohrek, it's time to head into Swamp Palace. And remember that this is the green pendant, so Sahasrahla could have something interesting.
Yeah, it's a high density location here. It makes a lot of sense because we're still, we're getting closer, but there are a couple pieces of this puzzle still missing. Canis Samaria is going to come into play at some point, so we need to find that. Medallions, we have no idea what we need for Misery Mire and Turtle Rock yet. And Titan's Mitts, so going somewhere where you have a chance to pick up quite a few items is always the right play, I think.
Well, we're going to find out what the hint here says, and it's a secret to everybody. Thank you, Tile. So helpful, so beneficial.
Alrighty, so hey, Bombos Medallion. Okay, so that makes gives us 2/3 of the medallion equation. Odds are better now that we've got what we need, but Ether Medallion is still out there somewhere. It could be what we need.
So that Bombos right now is nice to have, but it will not do anything because we have no way of getting to either of the dungeons that you need to use those medallions for. Ice Palace is still not on the table because we don't have the Titan's Mitt. My goodness, where can these Titan's Mitts be?
Yeah, I get the feeling that we're gonna come up on them pretty soon. Because we're just based on what we've got, what we're looking for, it feels like Titan's Mitts are going to be the next piece of progression in this seed.
And just also a reminder that we know that there is a small key in the Lumberjack.
Ooh, yeah, that's still out there, whatever that might be. It could be the Desert Palace small key, which is also a bad one to have up there, because those two items on the right side of Desert might come into play. But to even get up Castle Tower, we don't have either of the Castle Tower keys right now. So that is kind of weird. That makes me think that Castle Tower is not going to be the thing we need to do.
Oh, that's good news for Kohrek right there. There's the small key. So Kohrek now doesn't have to worry about that. Kohrek doesn't have to worry about that last key once he gets the big key. So what the advantage that Thalane had was just removed at this point.
Yeah, question in chat about whether or not our Titan's Mitts can be on the pedestal, as has been answered in chat. Thank you so much for that. If Desert Palace is our third pendant, then yeah, that is a possibility.
Interesting. I love blind ped pulls. And didn't the seed yesterday in game 1 have a ped pull as well? That was required?
Yeah, it was, and I believe that neither runner had the book, so it was kind of blind on both their parts in that race.
My goodness, these key sanity seeds can be so interesting at times, especially when you incorporate them together with the all dungeons aspect.
Yeah, I think it's a really nice mix. I mean, with keys, I guess it takes out a little. With the all dungeon aspect, I guess it takes a little bit of the randomness out of the key sanity mode, but it also allows for a lot of really excellent execution to creep back into the race. So you've got a nice mix, and for runners like this, it's always a treat to watch.
We find ourselves the map of Skull Woods and a small key to Turtle Rock inside the left side of Swamp. So we still have, what is it, 4 more checks left to go here in the Swamp Palace, but we haven't seen anything else. But don't forget, that's not just the 4 checks they get, it's the 5th one that could also come into play once they're done with this dungeon.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's so fun seeing these two in the same dungeons at the same times.
Yeah, and this and what we get to see kind of how they decide to route through each of them. And I mean, it's not a big surprise because the seed has been fairly linear. But what we do get to see is how they route them and the execution involved, which is just a treat.
Especially considering the fact that game 1 came down to 6 seconds.
Yeah, every little slip up or every time save will make a difference in this seed. I can already see that we're this close an hour in. It's likely going to be another close finish.
Still nothing as far as the normal array of items are concerned in this swamp. Could Argus be the prize?
Yeah, I mean, there's really, after this there won't be too much more. So you got to think that Argus or the green pendant itself is going to be what we're looking for.
And we already know that above the pose is a heart container, so they'll never make their way over there.
I do kind of think that picking up the cape in pod there, getting us up to Bumper Ledge to grab the whatever big key is up on there, I'm thinking that might be the next step in this seed now, seeing as we've seen a swamp kind of come up dry here.
You have not been wrong yet, Sabatender, and I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case. Piece of heart from Argus, and that was a beautiful kill there by Kohrek.
Very nice, yeah. Well, I mean, I said that Swamp would have something, and it had absolutely nothing. But
we haven't answered that one just yet. Don't forget, we've got to see what that green pendant yields.
Alright, so Kohrek gonna go pick up his flute there, hanging out on Lake Hylia Island.
Oh, that's right. The runners have yet to check to see what Sick Kid has. But that flute will give them a reason to head back to town.
Yeah, good point. It's another one of those kind of one-off spots that we have not seen yet. This hasn't been a good chance to get back to the village, and so this is as good a time as any, for sure.
Alright, Sahashala, do you have anything for us? We're an hour and 4 minutes in. Throw us a bone.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh! somewhere you can hear the Price is Right failure horn sounding on that play. And wow, exactly. And Kohrek won't even get to spin the wheel. He's got to move on and figure out what else he's going to do. He'll activate the flute coming up now. Oh, the lane got stuck in the middle of a cycle here. There we go, and a beautiful kill there for the lane. I gotta pick that up. I've only pulled that off once myself. Piece of heart there for the lane. The green pennant, which we now yields nothing. Kohrek activating the flute. We'll check Sick Kid likely once he's done with that. Sick Kid, what do you have for us? Oh.
Okay, so there really isn't too much. Desert Palace, yeah. Desert Palace is the next play, I think, here. Good eye there.
What if Titan's Mitt is sitting inside Spike Cave and the lane's been able to access it for better of a half an hour now?
You know, that's going to be one of those cases where if he does go to check that at this point in the race, and it is something like that, he's going to maybe feel a little bit behind, even though we can see that it might actually be him in the lead if it turns out to be up there.
Alright, let's see what we have inside of this desert. We go to the first of the items, and that's 10 arrows. I've seen way too many 10 arrows in this seed already.
I know, it feels like there's just like more in the pool today or something, but that's definitely not the case. There's just always that many.
Hi there, Ether!
Oh, man.
Now we at least know where all 3 medallions are. There's a small key to Dark Palace. So that's all the small keys into consideration now. What is wrong with that duck?
Yeah, he was looking kind of funky.
I think the lane's heading for Bumper Cave.
You know, I mean, you've seen that there's a key up there. What is it? You need to have that kind of information. It'll help you kind of figure out what your next routing decision should be, I think. So I like the play. Kohrek's going for, dungeons I can complete, and then we'll worry about the rest later. Oh, he's checking.
Pedestal check.
Wow.
Get out of the way! My goodness. All right, here we go. It is. Oh. Red
Just a
potion.
bottle. Disappointing. But, pedestal doesn't make or break a seed here. Even without the pedestal, we're still going to have a lot of fun here. So, as you were saying, yeah, Thalane is heading into the Dark World, so is going to pick up what's on the bumper ledge there. Kohrek taking on Lamolis right now. Looking pretty good so far. Ooh, maybe just missed
just missed one of them.
And guy there.
Yeah, he just missed and got a poke on the other. There we go. Wow. And that is for a crystal.
Okay. So we're only unsure about, let's see, we got Thieves Town, Ice Palace, and Misery Mire. Oh, and Pod, actually, we haven't seen as well. So there's still, we're not exactly sure where our final pendant might be.
Where does Kohrek go to now? Oh, I really think at this point we may be coming down to the grand idea that Spike Cave might have this answer.
Yeah, I want to see what this big key is. If it's like Thieves Town, then I'm feeling like Thieves might be okay. But yeah, Spike might be it.
There it is, Thieves Town.
All right, nice. I think then that Back of Thieves is probably going to have something because we also have the small key, so we'll have access to full clear.
And yes, this is totally indeed a result of the last seed, where the boots turned out to be on the pedestal, and those boots were required in order to beat the seed. So, yeah, they're thinking of what happened to them in game number 1, as Kohrek's going to be getting ready to go pick up the big key to Thieves Town in just a moment. And this big key gives Thalane at least some things to do at this point. Not a lot of items inside, but who knows? We are still looking for a lot of key items and keys in this Key
Yeah.
Sanity seed.
I'm thinking that Thalane has chosen not to head to Desert because he's looking to combo Misery Mire and Desert in one go. So unless he ends up kind of stuck and having to last location into Desert, I think that's kind of why he's put that play off.
And just a reminder, this is game 2 of a best of 5 series. The lane wins, goes up 2-0 with a chance to clinch a spot in the championship in game 3. House of Darkness key requires the hammer. We've already seen that. Thank you, game. Kohrek hoping to even out this series.
Yeah, and at this point, it is anyone's game here. There's still a lot to be played, a lot of execution, and a couple of keys, couple of items still to be found.
Kohrek dealing with the Myrtle Dactyls. They're not playing nice, but gets rid of them. We find ourselves the map to Desert Palace, which will tell the lane that it is for a crystal. And I think at this point, the lane's going to more or less try to prioritize crystal dungeons, knowing that the pedestal is not required.
Yeah, no need to kind of put any emphasis on pendant dungeons at this point. If you can clear them, I guess, then go for it, or clear the last one at least, then go for it. But definitely kind of puts them a little lower on the priority list.
Looks like Kohrek's going for some potions here. Could Kohrek be making the Spike Cave play?
I wonder. That would be pretty interesting.
Oh, there's the Titan's Mitt!
All right.
Blind had it in her cell the whole time. Small key to Ice Palace right there. That'll help with a little bit of the routing when they head into there, and this now opens the door for a lot of decisions to make. Where would you go based on this Titan's Mitt location at this point, and what we've seen and what we haven't seen?
Let's see. I think a reasonably decent play would be to go for Ice Palace now. You can clear that out. You don't have the big key, but it's not really too important. I think your big brain, kind of galaxy brain play might be to try and get into Misery Mire, even though you don't have Cane of Samaria yet.
And that's right, because that Cane of Samaria is what's keeping us from being able to say immediately you should do Misery Mire or do Turtle Rock at this point, but who knows? There's 6 items up on the mountain up for grabs. There's the 2 items that are in the Mire's Shed. The Checkerboard Cave is open to us. The lane may opt to head on over towards Desert. Who knows? Or, with the Titan's Mitt, let's go ahead and do some of the fetch quest stuff.
Yeah, this is a really interesting point of this match. I mean, it has been fairly linear for the first hour and 15 here, but with the Titans mitts kind of coming up and still, quite a few dungeons possibly needing to, or with the possibility to dip into a bunch of different dungeons now open, we could see a lot of divergence that could kind of determine how this one plays out.
All right, first Titan's Mint blocked location. Turns out to be 20 rupees. Let's see what the breadsmith has. So the breadsmith has another map. How do you make a map with a hammer?
Very carefully.
Is it like a jigsaw puzzle? You use the hammer to wedge those pieces in?
Maybe, yeah, that's what they're doing. Alrighty, so Thalane finishing off the Smith's chain here with the purple chest. We'll see what this is, and then we'll see where he decides to go next.
So those 3 checks do not come up with anything significant. The lane heading... Gonna go check the desert ledge, call the duck once again, and head on over towards the Mire shed area. Let's see what these Titans Mint yield. And if ether is the requirement for Misery Mire, well, that means the boots will be required.
Yeah, that could definitely be a stumbling block.
It's Quake.
It's Quake. I want to see someone go in there right now. That's what I want to see. I want to see some Misery Mire action.
There's Ganon's Tower small key. We are still looking for Castle Tower small keys. In fact, we're looking for both of those Castle Tower keys at this point.
Yeah, when they don't show up, I think that they're probably just hanging out in Ganon's Tower. But we still have a lot of locations that we have not seen yet. They could definitely pop up at some point and also make Castle Tower a play that we have to do earlier rather than later.
Nothing inside Checkerboard Cave. It looks like the lane heading... Where are we going to go? Are we going to do desert first? I would have to assume we're going to go to desert first. Kohrek's going to have to be careful. Activates the cape for the final hit. There we go. That was nearly dangerous for Kohrek because if you lose to blind, not only is it a death, but then blind sets up north of where blind normally sets up during the first go round, and that makes the fight a whole lot harder to deal with.
Yeah, and when seconds matter between these two guys, a death is very costly. So it was really nice to see him kind of clutch that fight out, even when blind got away from him a bit.
Kohrek going to do the chain right now, so he'll be coming up empty with those checks coming up as the lane gets ready to face off against the Lambolas. Oh, missed on the fire rod shot in the second one, just a little too early on that. And should be able to finish this one off pretty easily. There we go. Beautiful job for the lane.
I feel like the pull of Dark Death Mountain might be too strong, and we might see our runners head in that direction before diving into Misery Mire, as much as I have been touting that as something I'd like to see.
One of the worst things that can ever happen. It looked like... Did I see a crystal for Palace of Darkness there?
I just missed the map check there, but you could be right.
Our tracker, once again, shout out to Sanders, who's doing this behind the scenes for us, notes that it is a crystal for the Palace of Darkness, so our final pendant is either ice or mire.
All right, so Kohrek is making the play up to Dark Death Mountain. Not a surprise. You have a lot of items in a kind of a small little space to check.
Ooh, the lane's doing it!
Heading back. Yes. I like this so much. Thank you, Thalane.
And if it turns out to be a dungeon item inside of its vanilla location, or a dungeon item in a dungeon that you need that item to beat, those are the worst case scenarios, but it would give the lane a huge advantage at this point in this run.
Yeah, I mean, even, finding something else like the pod big key or something, that could be that Helmasaur King has the Cane of Samaria. So, it's not like he's looking for just one thing. There could be a couple of things here that could really to send him in the right direction.
And it could be a possibility of a double dip still to be required, as Kohrek's going to go ahead and check to see what medallion we need for Turtle Rock. It is Quake for that as well. That ether is going to stay on the torch.
So Super Bunny Cave didn't have anything too exciting in it. Hookshot Cave, we're hoping for some better luck here. There's 4 chests here. Hopefully Kohrek finds something.
Our container in chest number 1. Small key to the Tower of Hera found for the lane. There's the cane!
Oh, whoa. Alrighty, so I was wrong, but, that's cool.
Kohrek's heading for Turtle Rock. This is not a beatable dungeon, but Kohrek's following the chain at this point. Tenth enemy has the bomb. Thank you for the Zelda 1 reference. But that's not what these runners want to see right here. And the cutscene ends up yielding only 5 rupees. And here's the thing, the Cane of Samaria does not unique items in Turtle Rock. The Cane of Samaria only blocks 1 item in Misery Mire, but blocks everything in Turtle Rock.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Thalane could find some Turtle Rock keys in a couple of chests in here, which would maybe make his play up to Dark Death Mountain a little better if he could go further into Turtle Rock once he gets up there. Still not, necessarily, a terrible gamble on Thalane's part here.
Two locations left for the lane here in Misery Mire. The big chest has a small key to Ganon's tower and a shield there for Kohrek.
Ooh, Castle Tower.
Ooh.
So we got one more chest here in Misery Mire that we can look at. So far Thalane's picked up the small key to Tower of Hera, which, could be something, and 1 tower key. That's going to be it. So, unfortunately, not anything spectacular, but not nothing, I guess.
And Kohrek is done with Turtle Rock. We did not see that unique item.
Well, we did see a shield. Does that count?
Not in this case, sorry.
Ah, yes. Okay, so it must be a little further in then.
Ooh, the lane, one heart. Oh, gets around that boulder. How did that boulder not hit him? Ooh, Spike Cave coming up.
Yeah, this is a check that's been on the table for a little while. So wonder what we could find here at this point. Might just be, I think we're just looking for keys for the most part at this point.
Yeah, just a reminder, when you play in hard mode, normally your magic drains a lot faster than it would in normal mode, but in rooms like this where spikes are involved, it does not drain as fast because you need to have it. There's a piece of heart inside. So nope, nothing in there significant. Now, does the lane check Tower of Hera before he leaves the mountain?
I feel like you have to. You've already spent the time dipping Mire to find that key. I mean, if with nothing else kind of showing up and making an appearance here on Dark Death Mountain, that might be your kind of ace in the hole there, and might be worth checking.
I think at this point, Kohrek goes for. Kohrek's going to go for Misery Mire.
Ooh, okay, so kind of making the same play here. But he's been able to finish the dungeon off because he's got that cane. So we know from Thalane's run through that not too much in here, but Kohrek will be able to finish off the dungeon, which is very nice.
The most important thing that he'll be able to get is the castle tower key. Thalane, what are you doing? Spinning around in a circle. Lionel's, why? Here comes the Hera check.
Yeah, this is definitely one that you have to do, I think, if you've already dumped enough time into finding that key. So I like the play.
And nice use of the invincibility frames with 2 hearts remaining. Those tiles, no matter what tunic you're wearing, deal 1 heart of damage. Ooh, missed the tile. Gonna have to just be a little careful. Let's see what we have here in the Tower of Hera basement. Is it something important? It's a small key to Turtle Rock.
So that is important. That gives Thalane the chance to get deeper into that dungeon.
That gets the lane all the way to Mimic Caves if the lane chooses to do so. And the lane's going to come back in here and take a death. Wise decision at this point. Death in the dungeon at the entrance of a dungeon is a whole lot better than taking a death in the overworld.
Yeah.
So what do you think Vitreous has?
It's probably trash. If it's something cool, then great. That's awesome. But I got a feeling it's probably trash. I'm gonna say like, I don't know, 5 rupees. More cash on the boss, like that hint we saw earlier.
That's true. I was gonna go with something like the Skullwood small key.
Yeah.
At this point, that would be completely useless, as they've already both defeated Skullwoods earlier on in this seed. As the lane goes into Turtle Rock, you're going to see the lane routed in such a way that he does not use that key to get to the big key chest. You don't do that. You don't do that to get one item out of there. You want to go ahead and try to get as many items possibly with the amount of keys that you do have.
Yeah. Yeah, quick question in chat that has been answered by a couple of our viewers here. But why are our runners not checking the tablets? And unfortunately, due to a small little bug in the filling algorithm, those locations can no longer have anything of value. So it's something that the devs are looking to fix with a little patch in the next version. But for now, tablets don't have anything. So that's why we're seeing our runners just kind of skip past them.
Yeah, and knowing that information, why go all the way down to Bombos when you know that it's not going to yield you any sort of progression? It can still have something unnecessary to beat the seed.
Mm-hmm.
It could have a sword upgrade, but it's never going to have, under this current setup, something that you need to beat the game.
Alrighty, so Kohrek making his way down to Vitreous here, while Thalane digs a little bit deeper into Turtle Rock. So we'll see some new stuff on both sides in just a little bit here.
Ooh, those chain chomps do a lot of damage, and here we go. Deeper into Turtle Rock for the lane. Kohrek getting ready to face off against Vitreous. And I think this is why Kohrek bought those potions, knowing that Vitreous is not a fun boss to deal with. And you see that magic cape just draining instantly, but gets most of the hits he needs in order to finish off Vitreous, and just gotta dodge the lightning there. That would be absolutely horrible if you end up taking that hit. And the lane opts to spend that key on the big key chest and only gets 5 rupees out of it.
Oh, I don't know about that. Okay, so Misery Mire was a crystal, which just leaves Ice Palace, and so that would mean that Ice Palace is our third pendant dungeon.
And what did Vitreous drop? He didn't drop anything important, did he?
Oh, no. Is it 3 bombs, I think?
So the lane does have access at this point to 3 more items. Mimic Cave, the big chest, as well as the roller room.
Yeah, at this point, I guess he's hoping to snag another Turtle Rock key in one of those locations so he can get a little further in. So now a play that everyone has been avoiding, Ice Palace, which since we got those Titan's Mitts has been in Logic.
Yay, the map to Thieves Town, a dungeon you've already beat. Cache is held by somebody friendly. Bombs inside the big chest. One spot left for the lane. What's it going to be? Ooh, the tension is mounting.
Oh, 50 rupees. Ugh.
50 rupees is not going to do it. The lane has to leave here.
Alrighty, so Thalane is choosing to go for Ice Palace as well. He knows he's only got one location left in Mire, and it is on Vitreous there. So, for density-wise, Ice Palace is the play that makes sense to go for.
And there's the required Ganon's Big Key hint. Every key sanity seed will give you a hint about that big key.
Alrighty, so taking care of the Pengators here. See, we got the one key to Ice Palace already, so heading right first is in the cards here, which is always nice. So there's not too much left that we're looking for here. We're looking for another Turtle Rock key, which would be nice to find. It seems likely that we might find it in this dungeon. Other than that, not too much else. Another Castle Tower key would be a nice find. That actually might be the one that we find here, and then we have to go up Castle Tower to get... Oh, there you go, Turtle Rock. Okay, should have just stuck with my first prediction there. So there's another key for Turtle Rock. Looking for Castle Tower key, and that... Oh, and the Pod Big key. And then that's going to be about it. Oh, great. Another key for Ice Palace. Well, I'm not going to really need that, but it might help, routing through this dungeon a little bit. Checking the hint tile here. Map is a Mimic Cave. Okay, well, we just saw that from Thalane's side, so, yeah, I guess Kohrek will be able to skip that location when he gets back up to Turtle Rock, which is nice. Gonna use that extra key to get down to Ice Tea this way. Alrighty, so what have we got left in this dungeon? We're going to be missing out on the big key. We've got this one here in the double freezer room, so we'll see what we've got hanging out in this room. Ooh, Desert Palace small key. That is interesting. So that's going to do it for this dungeon. Kohrek's going to head down to Cold Stare now. We'll see what he's holding on to. And he is our third pendant. Alrighty, the shell is gone, and we've got him backed into the corner there. Nice slashes here. Looks like that is as clean as you can do with the tempered sword there. Excellent fight from Kohrek. Magic powder. So the bat comes into play at this point.
Magic bat is always interesting. Just it only leads to one item, as looks like thalane remembers don't have the big key. Can't check that.
He's got to make his way around to iced tea. This is too bad that he's got to go the long way around to get this. We know it's just 3 bombs, so a little bit more wasted time. And even though there's still, a lot of this seed still to be kind of worked out, there's a couple little pieces here and there. Kohrek is starting to build just a little bit of an edge. And first things first, he is going to make use of that Desert Palace small key that he found. That's 2 item locations. He's looking for either the Castle Tower small key, pod big key, or maybe one more Turtle Rock key just to be extra safe. Oh, he's still missing the 1 Turtle Rock key from Tower of Hera basement, so he still only has 2.
There's the other small key to the Castle Tower.
Okay, so I'm starting to think that oh wow, this is the big key to pod? Wow. Right side desert is where it's at. So Kohrek's in good shape, except for the fact that he has to go to Tower of Hera to get that small key for Turtle Rock. Unless we come across the final Turtle Rock key somewhere along the way here, he's going to need that one in the basement of Hera.
And we do know that that one other one is going to be somewhere. It could still be that one that is hanging inside the lumberjack.
It now definitely could be, which is scary to think. I'm wondering if it might be a Skullwoods key. I would be hopeful that it's a Skullwoods key at this point. I probably would play with that in mind, thinking that way.
Skullwoods, a Mire key, or something of that nature. Just, hope that it's a non-essential key, so that way you can at least avoid it under all terms and costs.
Mm-hmm. Now, if it is our final Turtle Rock key, then Thalane is actually going to need that key. Kohrek can skip out on doing the Lava Island chest in Turtle Rock and save a key, but Thalane could find himself in trouble if the Lumberjack key is, in fact, our final Turtle Rock key.
So the lane's going to be finishing off with Misery Mire, then go ahead and check with the desert at this point. And yes, this is key sanity. But what would be going through your mind at an hour 43 in?
Like, for all dungeons, hour 40 in, you're starting to think that if everything went just right for your opponent, that you could potentially see a dot done popping up, soon-ish. This seed hasn't been too nice, so I would imagine that neither runner is really feeling that at this point, but like at the 150 mark, you're thinking that if everything worked out for your opponent, that you could be seeing a dot done. So you're starting to panic just maybe a little bit, that you've got to hustle, make some plays. Alrighty, Kohrek is in the Helmasaur King fight here. Looking pretty standard so far.
And And with the 4 sword slashes, that does it. And Thalane pulling off the spooky action glitch. Nothing on the Helmisar King, so we'll see Kohrek probably go back inside and check that big chest. He's got 1 spare key, so he can also check the island chest, or the big key chest, which you'll find out is going to be another small key to this dungeon.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, these little checks that Kohrek is doing here could give Thalane a chance to kind of catch up a little bit, as long as he doesn't kind of fall for the same traps here. He only has the big key, a big chest in pod to check out, so he might skip out on that at this point. Alrighty, so this little quick transition into Desert Palace is going to work out pretty good for Thalane here. He'll be able to pick up his Castle Tower small key and big key to pod right away.
So there's the Castle Tower key for Thalane, and now here comes the Palace of Darkness big key, which, if Thalane did not misuse that or use that 1 key in a particular way, he could have been in go mode at this point, but he did, so therefore the search continues.
Yeah, we've got both runners kind of scrambling for a Turtle Rock key. Thalane looking for the, oh wow, big key to Ice Palace. Yuck. No one wants to see that at this point.
Yeah, because that only gets you 1 item.
But is that going to be that Turtle Rock key that we're looking for? So Kohrek needs to go to the basement of Tower of Hera, and he'll be in fine shape to finish this seed off. Thalane needs to find another Turtle Rock key to finish this off. So it's still kind of anyone's game here.
And, of course, as we pointed out several times at this point, we know the Lumberjack has a key, but even the Lumberjack at this point is not in logic because we have yet to find the boots.
That is a good point. It could be, the boots could be, oh boy, second chest in Castle Tower, or Laser Bridge, something like that, perhaps? Oh, maybe, yeah. Could be somewhere goofy, that's for sure.
This seat is goofy.
Yeah, right?
Kohrek heading to the Castle Tower. We'll go ahead and see what's in that second chest after he gets the burner coming up in the first chest. This also, he will likely be finishing off the tower at this point, because you do need to beat it at some point in time in order to beat the seed. There, Thalane was trying to pull off a bomb jump. So, an hour 48 minutes in, we are still a key away from go mode for both of these runners. By the way, there is a unique item inside Turtle Rock. Laser Bridge for the boots, perhaps. Who knows? Kohrek going upstairs. So this is going to be the second item, and Kohrek at this point might as well just go on heading over towards Aga 1, finish him off. You have to at some point in time in an all-dungeon seed. But Castle Tower second will have the small key to Misery Mire. Not the key you want to see. So as Kohrek continues to climb up the tower, we know Agonum's going to go ahead and throw off some blue balls at these runners, mixed together with the orbs he likes to throw. How many blue balls do you think the runners are going to have to deal with in this seed?
I'm going to go for kind of a par for the course number and say like 4. What are you thinking, Rick?
I'm going to go with 2.
Oh, nice.
I'll be generous today. So we saw a Misery Mire small key inside the Castle Tower's second chest as Thalane now gets ready to head on over towards the Homicide King. I'm wondering if that unique item in the bottom of Turtle Rock turns out to be those boots.
Yeah, it just one more little curve into this seed. Let's put the boots on Laser Bridge, and then have to go back and get that final key, possibly from the lumberjack, if Kohrek doesn't go for a Hera basement first.
I happen to remember a Key Sanity tournament match that came down to, it was in the Key Sanity tournament last year, that came down to a Turtle Rock small key, and one ended up using it to get to the laser or not to the laser island, the big key chest. The other one didn't. The 4th Turtle Rock key turned out to be on the pedestal.
I also remember that. It's just like, it's one of those, it's an unwritten rule of Key Sanity is that lava island, like, just don't check it. I mean, it can have something, certainly, but it's such a risky play.
And by the way, I think my answer's already taken away at this point as far as the blue balls are concerned.
Yeah, Aga's not playing nice here.
And the thing is that both of these runners are going to have to deal with that same logic.
Yeah. So we've got Thalane heading right back to Turtle Rock here. He's got that extra key. He's thinking that... so is he going to go to Laser Bridge and see what's on there, hoping that the final Turtle Rock key is there?
He has to.
Yeah, he doesn't have much of a choice. He could do the Castle Tower play as well, but I think he's, at this point, he's committing to, it's got to be here or else I'm going to lose.
Kohrek's making the same play. Does he head over towards the Tower of Hera, claim that other small key first? Or does Thalane get lucky in the final 4 in the basement of Turtle Rock? Stay tuned. This race is not over with just yet.
Alrighty, so we start our second dip into Turtle Rock here. We've cleared out, Thalane's cleared out a little bit more than Kohrek has, so he'll be heading right for Roller Room and then through down to Laser Bridge. Kohrek has a little bit more to explore. He got a hint saying that Mimic Cave was just the map, so he's not going to check that. Save him a little bit of time. So if our final TR key is not hanging out on Laser Bridge, I imagine that Kohrek will stay up on the mountain and work in the Hera basement check after that. Thalane is probably going to have to go to Castle Tower, and I imagine that we're probably going to find the boots here, which will put Lumberjack Cave into logic. So it's going to be key, I think, for Kohrek to maintain his advantage here. He cannot check this Lava Island chest upcoming here. He's got to grab that one key off the pokey and just head right towards the back. I think that's what he's going to do, but we'll see shortly.
It would be a disaster for Kohrek if he decides to do so. The lane about to go into the island. And there's the key pickup, so Kohrek is not going to use that key there. So, Thalane, the first of these two are going to be heading on over towards Laser Bridge. Let's find this out. What is going to be in here? Ooh. Thalane may want to go safety door. There's 300 rupees in the first of the chests. There's bombs in the second chest. Thalane, you're down to 1 heart. And there's the half of the life and magic fill up. Blue rupee. And there are the boots.
Okay, so, I mean, this could be good for Thalane because that likely means that one key on Lumberjack Cave is the final Turtle Rock key. If Kohrek doesn't think to check Hera basement, then Thalane's got a chance at this, I think.
We're going to flute to 4, head to the castle tower. Kohrek is not going to get another key in here. But we'll get those boots. What does Kohrek do after we are done in here? And here's the thing. That small key that is at the Lumberjack Cave is not necessarily the Turtle Rock key. It could still be in the Bonk Rocks. It could still be in King's Tomb.
That's true. Good point. And of course, the boots were in the last chest here on Laser Bridge, making it even more difficult for our runners to get all the way down there with the limited magic that we have here.
There is the rupees and Kohrek, 1 chest away from getting those boots. There it is. There's the boots. And he's going to open up the portal there. As we continue to listen to the lanes beeping. Down to 2 hearts all throughout this entire Agate Tower. Kohrek is fluting away from the Tower of Hera. He's going to go and check the 3 spots here. He's going to start with the Lumberjack.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen that there's a key there. So it should be your first check, I think. You're going to last location Hera basement, I think, at this point in a run.
Here we go. Is this the Tower of, or rather the Turtle Rock small key? Let's find out. It is Ganon's Tower! No!
Oh my. So I guess one of the Bonk Rock locations, Bonk Rock or King's Tomb here. We really don't have too much else. Ooh, chat pointing out Ice Palace Big Chest.
There it is!
That's it. Alrighty, so 158, 45 or thereabouts, and Kohrek has entered go mode, blazing up to Turtle Rock here. Just got to get to Trinex, and then he'll be on to Ganon's Tower.
And because he's already opened up the portal, he's got his portal still there. He goes right straight to Laser Bridge.
Yeah, this worked out great for him.
That is something the lane's not going to have, because the lane's going to have to go back into the light world, because he's going to start off in the dark world now that he's going to kill Ganon.
Yikes, and 1 heart, making the Aghanim fight just a little bit more stressful here. But manages to take him down.
Dead Rock blocking his leap off point as Kohrek gets ready to drop on down. Here we go. Kohrek about to go off against Trinex. And thalane trying to do a death warp. I don't know if that's going to work out properly.
Yeah, that's not going to work, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's starting off in the Dark World. He has to warp. Oh. Nope, he's going right back to the Dark World. Okay, I thought he may have knew of a way that I didn't know back over to this, but he's going to lose that portal. And so, Kohrek heads to the Trinex fight.
Well, if thalane checks Bonk Rocks on the way up to a Lumberjack, then he'll save himself a little bit of time. No, never mind.
Lumberjack first.
That's okay. Really clean Trinex fight from Kohrek there.
And there's the Ganon's Tower key for the lane, and off to Bonk Rocks to claim the Turtle Rock small key. As Kohrek finishes off, Kohrek now has a trip inside Ganon's Tower to finish off this seed. And just a reminder, this is a best of 5. This series, if it does remain to be this way, will be tied 1 game apiece. And what a great series this has been so far.
Yeah, it's definitely setting up nicely to be a very memorable series. First race, super close. This one, pretty close until I think the big turning point was the burning of that Turtle Rock key for thalane there. It's one of those, maybe you're not, you just kind of muscle memory and you just kind of go for that item location without thinking, and then maybe I shouldn't have used that key. We've already got the Ganon's Tower big key, so Kohrek is heading straight up the tower here. Alright, so through the first couple of rooms pretty well here. The Mimic's not proving to be too difficult. Getting a little bit bodied by some of the distractions in this room here, so Kohrek might opt to use the safety door or not. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, he chooses not to. And has Kohrek used his potion? I don't know if he's used his potion at all in this seed.
I'm not sure. I want to say maybe he did in one of the boss fights, like Mire, maybe in Vitreous. I don't know.
I know thalane used a blue goo in order to get through Laser Bridge.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he does have blue goo, as you just saw in his menu. Pretty effective gauntlet there for Kohrek.
Not quite getting the 1 cycle here on the Lamb Molus, but does so on the second go around there, no problem.
And you have to feel here for the lane that if this race comes down to that one key choice that he made here in Turtle Rock, and it very well seems like it has, that's a tough one.
It is a tough one. But for runners of this caliber, it's it's one mistake that kind of got you. But it's I'm sure he'll be able to kind of pick himself up for the next game in the series.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to be able to get past this. He'll be fine. It's just a tough way to lose. But again, it comes down to that when you play with runners this caliber. This is the semifinals of the tournament. You've got to expect high concentration play.
Yeah, and definitely, one of those, letting that key be used in that location. It's unfortunate, but it happens. So I'm sure, as much as you kind of might beat yourself up over it a little bit, not the end of the world.
And it's not really going to be a big difference in time. I mean, look at the lane right now, about ready to go against the Trinex as Kohrek falls down to Moldorm 2. The difference between these two runners are only going to be in mere minutes.
Yeah. So Moldorm 2 taking Kohrek down one time, but Kohrek gets his revenge there.
So there's the Trinex fight for the lane. The lane will be heading to Ganon's tower as Kohrek scales up to the 7th and final floor of this tower. Found a Skullwood small key inside the final chest before the Moldworm 2.
Which pretty much completes the collection for keys in this seed. I mean, that's pretty much all of them. Maybe one Ganon's Tower key still outstanding.
You can never have enough keys. And the interesting thing is that the winner who have won games 1 and 2 will be the person who was running the other person's settings.
Yeah, although the settings were similar, yes, that is funny that it ended up that way.
Just wait until we get to the vetoes in games 3 and 4, as Kohrek now gets ready to face off against Ganon. And just a reminder, he does have silver arrows. It's the only place where the silver arrows are good for.
Alrighty, nice bounce off of the trident there. Gets an extra spin in, so we get right into phase 2.
And he's going to go with the dash strats at least to start things off. Gets a couple of good spins in there. 12 hits and don't take a death. He's going to go to his blue goo. Use that real fast. And, double stage on the 2 there. Missed, he had to go into defensive strat there because he was down to a minimum amount of hearts. So he opted to deal with another cycle of stage 2 versus taking a death, which means you'd have to do this all over again.
Yeah, I mean, based on how game 1 went, you don't want to be taking a death. Every second counts, and on Kohrek's side, we're already at 208 for the seed. You're thinking that Thalane is probably right next to you in the fight there, so you've got to hurry.
And there we go. We'll switch on over to the silver arrows and get the torch. No, we don't get the torch glitch, but we get that fast enough. Doesn't really matter. 1, 2, and almost 3. And, the lane takes a death. Kohrek is done. Happily timed. Kohrek's going to even out this series 1 game apiece.
So get your GGs in the chat there. Kohrek has finished with an official SRL time of 2:09:27. So we'll see if we can get him in for an interview.
And Thalane, learning of his fortune or misfortune, unfortunately, and will hit the forfeit button at this point.
Yep. Understandable, definitely. So let's try and bring them both in here. We got Kohrek already here, so let's pull him in and see what he's got to say about this one. Kohrek, my man, GG's.
Thank you, GG.
So that was a roller coaster of a seed, kind of a similar set of conditions to yesterday's race. Different outcome this time. Oh, and we're also joined by Thalane. GG's, man.
Hey, GG's.
GG, Thalane.
So I guess we'll get some thoughts from you, Kohrek, first. Kind of walk us through that one. What did you think of that?
I mean, it was a very long and slow seed without the boots, but I was feeling pretty good. Like, nothing really felt too bad for most of the seed. And then about halfway through, I lost my portal in front of Thieves Town, and I was like tilting for like 5 minutes just over losing 30 seconds because yesterday it was within 6 seconds, So like losing like 30 seconds there is just felt so bad for a little while, but got over it. It was just a really weird long seed. Those when you called my game last round, those the Turtle Rock keys, they didn't appear, and that happened again.
I know, right? It's like I'm a curse on you or something. Yeah, so we noticed that it was definitely pretty linear between for the first hour and 15, you guys were like in lockstep, basically. Everywhere you were going, the progression was just leading you in one direction only. And it wasn't until Mitts in Thieves Town that everything kind of split off from there, and you had a little bit more open to you. Thalane, I guess give us a couple of opening thoughts as well on how did you feel that seed went? I think there's probably one thing that you might regret, but
yeah, so I can just agree with Kohrek. For the most part, the seed felt pretty good. I mean, it was kind of, for me, it was also kind of linear. Like, I kind of knew where to go. Then there was like this major break point for me where it was like, okay, do I go over to Desert? Or do I get that one big key from the bumper ledge and hope it's like Thieves Town big key and see if I can get something in there? Like, I was really hoping for Mitts in there, actually. And it worked out perfectly, so that felt pretty good. And yeah, and then that one thing happened in T-Rock, which I think everyone saw, and it all spiraled down like really fast from there on. And yeah, after that, I was just like super on tilt and super nervous and embarrassed and all that, and yeah, it just didn't go very well from then. So yeah.
Yeah. When that happens, when you burn that key on Lava Island, it always feels bad when it turns up with nothing, as it did today. I saw that your play there. You were holding off on doing the Desert and Mire area because you were hoping for Mitts. And when they did pop up, I was really hyped to see you drop into Misery Mire there. It almost worked out because you did find that Tower of Hera basement key, and then with the other Turtle Rock key hanging out there, I thought that might give you the edge. So I think your routing was pretty solid, other than just one little thing, and that's just how it goes.
Yeah, I was even thinking, like, in my head, I was just repeating, okay, just get the key and then bail out. And I just repeated that so many times that I didn't really listen to what I was thinking. And then I opened the door, I went through the pipe, and I was like in front of the chest. I was like, why am I here? What is happening? Like, this is not where I wanted to go. And then I was like, do I reset? But then I wasn't sure when last time I save and quit or saved was. And now I know I did that death warp in Hera, which I wanted to do in the basement initially, but then I forgot to do it mirrored out, and then I had to do it upstairs because I was down to 1 heart and really didn't want to die in East Death Mountain Overworld or something. So I could have just reset and maybe lost 2 minutes, and that would have been enough. I don't know.
So let's see. Back to Kohrek. Was there any thought to? I was calling for pod like really early on in the seed, and it seems like you guys both ended up kind of hitting there. I guess when you got that third key to get in there and get a little further in, and so that kind of gave you the flippers, and then from there we did like Swamp Palace, I think. Was there any thought to go for pod a little earlier in the seed?
When I was leaving Eastern, since I had full Dark World, I gave it a little bit of consideration while I was, going through the fanfare and everything. But ultimately, you hit the nail on the head. I really would want to have 3 keys if I'm going there that early, with basically all the Dark Overworld open. It just seemed a little bit premature. It might have ended up working out better, but at the same time, I'm pretty comfortable with how I handled it.
Yeah, definitely. Rick, you got any questions for our 2 fantastic runners?
I think you've pretty much hitting it pretty well on this interview process at this point. My main question at this point is, what can we expect from you 2 in games 3 and 4 of this series?
And 5, you mean?
Right, it's going to go all the way, of course.
I mean, I hope it does, personally.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect. I just hope this was like the major mishap in the series, and from now on I'm trying to like focus more and maybe also practice a little bit during the week, because lately I've not been playing at all. It's just tournament matches on the weekends and that's it. So maybe that's just like lack of practice slowly showing. So maybe I should do that, and we see how it goes. And yeah.
Any hints as to what game modes we might see, or are we thinking to stick to this all dungeon keys business?
I'm not sure yet. I think it's my turn next, and Kohrek is gonna like veto something. So depending on what he chooses, I think I kind of want to switch it up a little bit, but I have to see. I can't say yet. No idea.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. I've picked all Dungeons Key Sanity every single time, so I could change, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I mean, it's a solid mode.
I do want to ask this question, considering the fact that you both had similar seeds for games 1 and 2, with the difference of this one being a hard one. Which seed did you like better, yesterday's or today's?
Do you want to answer that, Kohrek?
I don't know. Honestly, yesterday was actually probably a little bit better, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think from my point of view, both were like super linear until like 1 hour 20 minute-ish. Yesterday at one point I had like Misery Maya Swamp and Ice Palace like all open to be full cleared, and today I think it was like a slight little bit more linear, but it was still, I don't know, it's no preference, like no C was better than the other, I think.
Now, how about this? You're in a hard mode seed, and you get Tempered Sword 11 minutes in.
Yeah, I was kind of worried about Master Sword Ganon, because that has not been going very well lately, so I kind of did like a practice fight or 2 before this race, and that's about it. So I was like, okay, yeah, in case we get Master Sword, I should be okay with this, but yeah. And then we get Tempered, I was like, okay, well, I think I worried for nothing, so that's cool.
Yeah, nice. It's always nice to see all of your sword upgrades show up fairly early on in a seed. It gives you just a little bit more breathing room when you're playing a mode hard or expert or something like that. Uh-oh. We might have lost Kohrek there. But I guess we're pretty much wrapped on today's race here. It was a pretty close one, almost all the way through, and it only wasn't until the last couple minutes that we really saw Kohrek kind of pull away with this one. So definitely look forward to seeing games 3, 4, and most likely game 5 on the schedule at some time soon. And that probably is going to do it. So I want to give a quick shout out to our tracker, Sandres316. Thank you so much for pushing those buttons behind the scenes, and GG's to our runners one more time. Give them a follow if you haven't already. And I want to thank my co-com, Adirondack Rick. Always a blast to be in the commentary booth with you.
Oh, it's a lot of fun doing this with you. We've been trying to plot something together since meeting up at AGDQ, and it's glad we got to get together for this one.
Alrighty, so that is going to do it for us. Do we have anything on the schedule, Rick?
Well, let me see. Coming up in a little bit. Well, we've got the weekly open coming up at 5:30. That's going to be on Speed Gaming 2. Area of Sorrow Randomizer coming up 7 o'clock Eastern. Then the Zelda 1 Randomizer's weekly race coming up at 10 o'clock Eastern as well. So stay tuned for that stuff. Also, keep an eye on the schedule because Games 3 and 4 at the very least, and Game 5 if necessary, will be scheduled between these two. And also, Willard J. Bradley versus Andy in the other semifinal. They'll be getting their series beginning real soon. I know Andy's got to take care of some SMZ3 stuff in his best of series against Solsky. So he's got to get that finished up. Then he'll get his stuff scheduled for here. So stay tuned for that stuff. Stay tuned for more Link to the Past Randomizer. It's been a blast. Have yourselves a great Sunday. I'm Adirondack Rick.
And I've been Sabotender.
Have a great day, everyone.